to Movement, Rhythm, and Conversation, the show where we delve into the profound impact of religion, spark provoking conversation, explore the world through an open-minded perspective. I'm your host, Tafari, here to bring you engaging discussions, eye-opening stories, and conversation that pulls no punches. Whether it's faith, culture, creativity, or real-life experience, we keep it raw, honest, and unfiltered. Peace and power, family. Before we get started, please take a moment to do something important. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode of Movement, Rhythm, and Conversations with Tafari. Every click, share, and subscriptions help push this movement forward, spreading knowledge, rhythm, and power into our community. Let's rise together. Now, let's get into today's conversation. Welcome to Movement, Rhythm, and Conversations. I'm your host, Tafari. Today's episode explores a difficult but necessary idea. A people enslaved by religion are often harder to liberate than a people enslaved by chains. Physical chains are visible. They demand resistance. Mental chains, however, are inherited, normalized, and often defended as sacred. In this conversation, we examine how belief systems introduced under oppression can persist long after the oppression itself has changed form. This is not an attack on faith or spirituality. It is an examination of power, psychology, and control. We are asking how liberation is delayed when submission is taught as virtue and to question is framed as rebellion. This episode invites honesty, reflection on where freedom truly begins, within the body or within the mind. Let's get into it. They stole the heaven in our hands. Physical chains versus mental captivity. Physical enslavement is visible, violence, and universally understood as injustice. Mental enslavement, however, is subtle and often mistaken for virtue. When chains are removed from the body but remains on the mind, oppression adapts rather than ends. Liberation becomes difficult not because freedom is unavailable, but because captivity has been internalized as truth, order, or divine will. Religion as a psychological anchor. For enslaved Black people, religion functions as both comfort and control. While it offered hope amid brutality, it also taught obedience, patience, and suffering, and a deferral of reward to the afterlife. Over generations, these teachings became psychological anchors, stabilizing during trauma, but limiting once trauma condition changed. What began as survival can quietly become submission. Chains create belief creates consent. Chains provoke resistance because they are unmistakably unjust. Religious enslavement, by contrast, can create consent. When oppression is framed as purposeful, redemptive, or divinely sanctioned, resistance feels sinful or misguided. A system that convinces people their suffering is meaningful requires no guards. It polices itself through belief. The internalization of powerlessness. When a people are taught that all power rests outside themselves, in a distant God, a promised future, or unseen realm, they may struggle to claim agency in the presence. This internalization of powerlessness makes liberation difficult because freedom requires belief in one's own capacity to act, decide, and build without permission. Moral authority replacing critical thought. Religious enslavement often replaced critical inquiry with moral authority. Questions become disobedient. Doubt becomes weakness. Over time, this suppressed intellectual autonomy. A community discouraged from question inherent belief may also struggle to question inherent systems, hierarchies, and injustices. Identity bound to belief. When religion becomes inseparable from cultural identity, challenging belief feels like self-erasure. For many Black Americans, faith is intertwined with family, history, and resilience. As a result, liberation efforts that includes question religion are often perceived as an attack on Blackness itself, even when the goal is self-determination and clarity. Institutional reinforcement of captivity. Religious institutions often benefit from maintaining belief without examination. Authority, income, influence, and social control depends on unquestioned loyalty. This creates an incentive structure where liberation of the mind threatens not just theology, but institutions built upon it. Captivity persists because it's profitable and orderly. The fear of emptiness without faith. A major barrier to liberation is fear. Fear that without religion, there is no morality, no meaning, no community. These fears overlook the fact that African society maintained ethics, spirituality, and social cohesion long before forced conversion. Liberation does not require emptiness. It requires reconstruction. Why religious chains are harder to break. Chains break with force, rebellion, or law. Religious chains break only with courage, introspection, and time. They demand that individuals confront uncomfortable truth, challenge authority figures they trust, and reimagine identity without inherent framework. This is slower, quieter, and often lonelier than physical resistance. Liberation has the courage to reclaim the mind. True liberation begins when a people reclaim ownership of their thoughts, values, and sense of power. This does not require rejecting spirituality, but it does require rejecting submission disguised as holiness. A people free in body but captive in belief remains governed. A people free in mind can never be fully enslaved again. As we close, the question is not whether religion once helped our ancestors survive, but whether it still helps us fully live. Survival and liberation are not the same thing. What sustained a people in captivity may limit them in freedom if never re-examined. Chains are broken through force or law, but mental captivity only dissolves through courage, inquiry, and self-ownership. Liberation does not require abandoning your spirituality. It requires reclaiming agency, critical thought, and the right to define meaning for ourselves. A people who control their minds cannot be permanently controlled by systems, doctrine, or fear. True freedom begins when we are no longer afraid to examine what we were taught and decide for ourselves what still serves us. This is movement, rhythm, and conversations. I'm your host, Tafari. Stay conscious, stay free, and most of all, stay Black. Peace.